Power on. Skinny dip is ready to pair.
Bow. Bow. Susan. Susan.
A nasty man when it came to these things. But this.
All right, we're about to get it all started. Sunday fun day. Welcome, Val, Susan, Kirsten's here, Sean's in the house, of course, because I'm the one teaching the class. To get started today, I'm going to stand with a little sideways perspective and give you a little bit of understanding of why we do what we do. So as we age and as we tend to be sedentary, we have these inward rotation of the upper body. And similar in the lower body, we have outward rotation. So we have these two different factors going on. We try to bring the bottom of the body back to center and elongate the spine so we have nice, powerful core and strength. That's what we're all about some days. Now, to start the class, we're going to bring our feet with the heels extending out to the sides of the mat, so the toes have a really defined inward rotation. There's that inward rotation thing again. Did you hear it? Now, from our pubis, I want you to imagine that you're kind of pulling up all of this muscular infrastructure. And to do that, it's like taking the belly button and pulling it in, and then pulling it up towards the rib cage. And as we begin to initiate that muscle activation, I'm going to ask you to take your hands, open them with the palms face forward. Your elbows are elevated in the back of you. So you're feeling a nice little tension forming across the shoulders. And then we're going to draw the shoulders up towards the ears and squeeze our elbows together. Take the imaginary strength. Got it in your hand, but really not moving our arms, of course. We're just going to tie to the top of our heads. We're going to pull the top of our head to the sky. And then we're going to pull the back of the head towards our posterior side. Nice. Now, on the heels, I'd like you to take the weight back into them and then try to rotate them so that they try to push off the mat. You might feel the arches of your feet start to lift, and the little the ball of the big toe maybe has also lifted too. Now, we're going to take the ball of each big toe and roll it down onto the mat. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, let's bring the hands forward, bringing the baby fingers and forearms to meet, and serve out a nice big tray. Let's flip the palms to touch, interlock the fingers, and then make the arms long, and let your shoulder capsule grip way forward. Draw your butt back, step your feet out, so that your feet are running parallel to the sides of the mat. And then on a big breath in, raise the arms, high up as you can. And then bring hands over heart, stand tall, step your feet together, push your hands to the sky, and let that upper body just float down. We're kind of chopping at the hips, minimizing any bend in the knees and ankles. Legs are relatively straight. As you inhale, extend flat back. And as you exhale, let the upper body kind of pull down. Let's drift the body backwards. And let's drift forwards. And then oscillate between the 2 points. Slowly. And then let's hold our booty back in the back position. As you inhale, extend to a flat back. As you exhale, bend both knees. As you inhale, let the upper body rise up and sweep the arms to the sky. And then bring hands over heart. Let's take the right foot, step it forward, and take the left foot and step it backwards. We are in lunge position. We're still kind of warming up the body, so we're not looking for anything very strenuous. I'd like you to lean in, however, just to feel a little bit of tension forming, glutes and hamstrings of that right cheek. And then upright the body, push the hands to the sky, and take that left knee and bend it so your hips can kind of sink down a little bit. Now, as you inhale, extend the spine. And as you exhale, bring hands over heart. Take that back foot, step it forward, and switch sides. Again. Lean it backwards, drop that right knee, hands push to the sky. Inhale, extend. This time, as you exhale, fold over that front leg and step that left foot back into plank pose. Give me a hover low, followed by a hover high. Pull up and back the hips to down dog. Let's step the feet in and come onto all fours. Today we're going to widen out the stance, the knees, the sides of the mat. We're going to take the palms, make sure they're nicely connected, and much the same way a frog would sit with the fingers kind of pointing in. Let's do the same today. Now, with your spine nice and long, and try to pull the back of the head to the sky. And as you create that muscle activation in that posterior upper back and neck, let's keep that. Let's hold on, let's embrace below. And let the chest kind of push through the arms. And then bend your elbows like you're kind of doing a push-up. Let the nose gently come down, gently crack the neck, and then push back up. And then let's do that one more time. And as you push back up, step the hands to the fingers, aim straight forward. Bring the heels of the feet together, but keep the toes tucked under. So your big toe or any other toes you can get on your mat, that's all good. Let the hips drift back to the heels. Let's walk the hands forward. As the hands walk forward, let's pull the rear end backwards. Feel nice and neat and a little strong. Lats and muscles interact with your shoulders. Maybe feel all the way down into the chest. And then let's walk the hands back in. Step the feet out to the sides of the mat. So knees and feet are both located there. Take a big inhale and start to pull the center of your spine to the sky. And then keep that as you hollow out the tummy. Pull your belly button up, in. Let the head relax. Use some intention today. And then let's the upper body kind of drop in between the arms. Take your tailbone, roll it to the sky, and take the back of the head and pull it high to the sky. Chest is proud, push it through. Now hollow out that belly and take the center of the spine. Begin to pull it up and towards the sky. Let the head dangle. Hollow out that tummy. And as you take your next big breath in, come back to a neutral spine, sorry. Let's take the left leg and push it backwards. The toes of that left leg are still connected to the mat. Let's take the heel of that left foot and drive it towards the ground. Now, if you can, take the right knee up off the earth. And then return the right, step that left leg back in, switch it up to the right side. Right heel drives to the earth. Remember to keep your hips square. We're not opening up to face away. And driving a nice stretch to the calf as we lift up that left knee. The right heel continues to drive to the earth. As the left knee lowers back down, step the right back in. Final cat and cow. Pull with the cat, spine to the sky, head dangling earthward. And reversing, chest pushing through the arms and back ahead and tailbone, rolling up. And then come back to neutral spine. With the toes tucked under, hover the knees, pull the hips upward and backward, and step both left and right foot forward. As you inhale, extend to a flat back. Keep the back in extension, let those hips drift backwards. And try to find a little more length, or less bend, if you will, in the knees. Let's step the left and right palm onto the thighs. Let's push the palms and extend spine and tabletop your back. Let's pull the head forward. Let's pull the back of the head to the sky. But keep your back in tabletop as best you can. Now take the right hand, push it towards the earth, open the fingers widely, and with the thumb aiming to the sky, pull that arm long and raise it. And then return the right hand back onto the right thigh. Let the left fingers push to the earth, open them widely, and raise up the arm. And the same thing, opposite side. We go through a few rotations of this. All right, and we're all going to be with palms on thighs. Straighten out those legs, lengthen through the spine, pull the back of the head high, come up to a standing position, sweep your arms up. Seems like it's a long warm-up today. Now, take the hands, bring them together. Try I'm not losing my mic. Let's pull everything, arms, shoulders, all to the sky. Let's take the left hip and begin to push it out sideways. And then take the hands and sweep them across the midline of the body. Enjoy a nice lengthening along the side body of yours. Come back up with the hands, center the hips, and then take them to the right. Sweep those arms across the midline, lengthening the right side. Back up center. Bring hands over hearts. Half forward fold. Tabletop the back. Let the palms face down to the earth. Sweep them backwards, kind of like a plane, a jet plane of sorts. Take the thumbs and rotate them up to the sky. And feel the muscles across the back and across the back of the shoulder. Nice and active. Now hollow out your belly. Give me a big effort to pull it up off the ground. Now take the heels and try to spiral them away from the midline of the body. And as you do, keep that activation as you return back to a standing position, sweeping the arms forward, palms facing the sky. Take a big inhale, expand the arms. That's wide and sweeping them back. Nice. Feel the fingers pulling outwards. So from the center of the body, length gain through every inch of your arm, all the way up to the fingertips. Big breath in. Sweep the hands together. Lower them so they're over heart. Fold halfway forward. Back in tabletop, spine and neck long. Let both fingertips drop towards the earth. Turn the palms to face into the feet and walk the fingers forward as you pull the hips backwards. Let the upper body fold down now. As you inhale, extend to a flat back. As you exhale, bend both knees. And then let's turn it sideways to our mat. And let's widen the feet. Wider than shoulder width about apart. Definitely wider than hip width. Just take the legs and let them bend. And then let's walk the hands back in towards the body, past the feet if you can. Like you can use them to help you sit down. Let's sink the hips a little more. And then push the hips to the sky, let the upper body fold down. Let's walk the hands back forward and then walk them out. As you do so, bring some straightness to the leg. Bring some emphasis of the weight bearing of your body into the feet. And that can be simply achieved by keeping the legs as straight as possible and then your butt drift backwards. And that nice tension, which is really a stretch going on. Medial, inner thighs, I guess, hamstrings. Let's take it along the back as we come to extension of the spine. If you can, walk your hands under shoulders and tabletop the back. Grip the hips back ever so slightly more. Now, while you hold on this position, let's take the heel of each foot and try to pull it into the center line of the body. Keep that activation. You should feel a little bit of shaking maybe. You get that? No shaking? But I feel it. Pull the heels together a little more. I want you to try to pull them both together, right to the center line. And then relax. Bring the hands or palms to your thighs. Keep your back in tabletop. Keep the legs nice and straight. Beautiful. Lift it back a little more. And then let's take left hand and right hand and extend them forward. And then bring hands to our heart. Extend forward. Now, as you extend the hands forward, let the hips drift backwards. Push out hands, hips back. One more time in. One more time out. And then come up to a standing position. Arms extending all the way up to this motion. Beautiful. As you exhale, bring hands over heart and step the feet together. Let's come face to face again. Good morning. Hands push to the sky. On the arc, still connected. As we step the feet together. We also feel a little, maybe a little bit of touch of our thighs. Let's make that a little more active. Squeeze the thighs together. And then while you keep your arms elevated, try to sit the body. Try not to let your arms fall. Try to keep them nice, tall, and then stand back up. So it's a two-part movement. Thighs pulling together and hinging through the hips, knees, and ankles. All while we keep the arms raised high. Lower it back down slowly. Enjoy the bird. And then on this, rise up, bring hands over heart, and pull halfway forward. Let the arms fall to the ground. Step left and right leg back into plank. Pull your hips up and back to down dog. Take the left leg and lift it to the sky. And then lower left or right. Lower right or left. Let's bend that left knee, pull the left knee into the chest and step the left foot up and in between the hands. Beautiful, excuse me. I'm all choked up. Now from that right foot, we're going to come into a balanced type of position. So we're going to push off the right foot onto the left leg and then raise the right leg into the sky. Let's walk the hands forward
And let's see if we can try to work to square your shoulders and your hips. Let's bring extension to the spine, to the neck. And I want you to register if you are compressing. And if you are, deregister that. Just relax. Let's drift everything backwards. So walk the hands and pull the hip backwards and keep the leg relatively straight. Keep the hips square as best you can. Same with the shoulders. And then return. Right leg down. As you inhale, extend. As you exhale, fold and step back to plank. Let's do a little bit of chest work with a couple hover highs, hover lows. Down, up, down, up, and pull hips up and back to down dog. Take the left leg, raise it to the sky. Take the right leg and lift it to the sky. That's where we have partners. They tell us all the wrong things we do. Let's bend the knee. Pull the knee into the chest and step the right foot up and in between the hands. Beautiful. Let's square hips and shoulders to our mat, keeping that square position. Spine is extension. Neck is extending. We're kind of pushing from the left toes and weighting into that right leg, pulling that left leg up. Hips square, shoulders square. Let's walk the hands forward and work to square the body as best we can. We'll try to get that rotation to the hip. A lot of fine, small muscles that help stabilize the joint. I'm taxing them right now. Now, let's pull everything backwards. Walk the hands. Give me as much posterior loading. Get that heel heavily weighted. By pulling the hips backwards. And then let's return the left foot to our earth as you inhale, extend to a flat back. As you exhale, pull back down, step it back to back to our chest. 2, hover high and hover lows. Pull hips up and back to down dog. Driving your heels to the earth. Back to your plank. And lower your body down. Face down mat. And Kirsten says, good night. Good night, ladies. It was fun. Well lasted. Now, we have our hands positioned underneath our shoulders. Let's take the elbows and try to pull them to the sky. And let the fingertips of the hands still be present on our mat. What should have changed in terms of the weight bearing and muscle activation is you should feel the ribs more heavily weighted as we activate the muscles of the back. Now, bring the palms back onto the earth and push them into the earth. And lift your shoulders to the sky and pull the head longer. Your face is on the mat, it's in the wrong spot. The nose is in the mat, it's hovering, not right now. I'm now looking forward, down. Now, lower the head, relax it. Just gaze in the preferred left or right direction. Take a couple breaths. While we're in this relaxed position, I'd like you to walk your hands back so that the palms are on the earth and your baby fingers are towards the hips. Squeeze the elbows together.
And the arms bent.
The arms are bent at the elbow. Now let's bring our face back in action. Rotate it to face the earth. Lift the back of the head towards the sky. Squeeze your elbows. Take a big breath in. Hollow out that belly as you exhale. And as you inhale this time, Step the hands back under the shoulders. Push up off the earth onto your knees. Float the body backwards towards, your hips back to the heels. And with the hands extend out to child's pose. Swap the hands back under the body. We come back onto all fours. Feet stepping out to the width of the mat and the knees. While we kind of hold on the spot, I'd like you to rotate like a clock hand to the right. Clockwise, rock it clockwise. And then reverse. It's just moving some stuff around.
What's that?
It's lubricating your hip joints is what it's doing. All right, now come back to an all four head position. Let the head fall, and then take the center of the spine and pull it to the sky. And then push the chest through. Pull the back of the head high. We've got our feet and knees to the width of the mat. We're going to float them up off the earth. The knees, that is. If you can float both your knees and your feet at the same time, you're awesome. But if you can't, welcome to my world. Let the knees lower back down. Lift the hips back. Walk the hands forward. So we're in a modified child's pose. We're going to have a tabletop back-like position. So our head isn't dipping towards the mat. We're really going to bridge of sorts, if you will. So the hands are extended forward. Now, same thing that we were executing before. We're going to try to take the knees up off the earth. And then lower back down. And then back up. And lower back down. And then back up. And then push your body with your feet forward to plank pose. And then float backwards. Knees bend but hover. Hips pull back to heels. Push back forward, plank. Same thing back, hips pull back, knees bending, floating. Upper body pulls forward. Hold in that plank position with the left leg. Switch it to the right. Alternate left to right. Everyone meet in plank. Hips pull up and back to down dog. Step your feet forward. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Exhale. Lower down onto your mat. Booty down. Good morning. Grab some water. Water. Cheers. So, we're going to extend the legs out, size of the mat. Have a nice little V, our legs coming into the body. As we started class, I was talking about how the upper body rotates inwardly. This is why staff pose is a good practice for the spinal extension. It's something that we can control. We can kind of feel a lot working as we start to execute this pose. Little nuances of it, making sure the shoulders aren't bearing the stress of our positioning right now. So if you can imagine your chest opening wider. To help with this, I'm going to ask you to take your fingertip, the big finger of the hand, just touch the mat with it. So the other ones are basically floating off the mat. And then your baby finger, try to get it on to where those hips in the socket there are, kind of in that spot, part of your anatomy. Take the palms and try to rotate them towards the front of your body. And to help with that, squeeze the elbows. Now, we've got a lot of that shoulder activation going on. Let's work on the spinal column. Let's pull in that belly button and let's pull the sternum, that big chest bone, towards the sky. Take the top of your head and do the same, lifting it nice and tall. Now, if your hip flexors are inflamed, if they're going, holy, good. We're working them a little bit. Now, bring your hands back over heart. We're going to practice what our body loves, which is flexing the spine,
And we're gonna come down Pilates style. Slowly, hollowing out the belly, one vertebrae at a time. Oh, and then resting on the mats. Only for a second. We're gonna drop the chin into the chest and begin our ascent. All the way up. Back into staff pose. Oh. Feet pushing out, trying to get some length through the legs. Let's flex the feet this time, so the toes are pulling into the shin. Same thing all over again. I'm going to talk it up a little bit. Get the spine growing long. We have that belly hollowing out. Let's reduce and let's release and open up the chest, working the strong muscles of our back, making them even stronger, right? Push the chest forward, squeeze the elbows together, hollow out strongly through that belly, pull the head to the sky, and then bring hands over hearts and practice what you love. Slowly down. Extend the arms all the way back this time. Reach, 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 and then bring the chin into the chest, sweep the arms up, pull up, one vertebrae at a time. This time we're going to dive the hands down and extend out. Let your spine flex, let everything just kind of hang out. All right, as we walk back in, let's take that left and right foot, bring them together. Let's pull, lift the arms and pull the shoulders back as we kind of grow the spine next line. So this is a modified staff pose. Let's rock side to side. Seems like a pretty innocuous little exercise, but it's so good for some of the smaller pubis muscles. Believe it or not, as we work that pubic girdle, we're going to bring a nice length back to the spine and pull the top of the head to the sky. Beautiful. Now, I don't recommend this for everybody, but if you can, take the left leg, sweep it back, and then walk over your body. So walk your hands over your body, so you're in like a split lunge type position. Left knee's on the earth and right foot is extending out. Right leg is relatively straight. As you inhale, grow the spine and walk the hands towards that front foot. Let's make sure that the right foot is not pointing, it's flexing. Now, fold onto that right leg a little more, intensifying that nice stretch. Pull a little deeper. Let's walk the hands back in, and then switch left or right. Much easier transition this time. All right, left leg's extending straight. Find a balance. You can separate your feet, your legs, whatever, to make it feel more stable. I invite you not to struggle with balance when you're working on stretching. And it defeats the purpose as you lower into the stretch. Take your time. Use your breathing. As you release breath, that release is kind of a triggering for the body. And see if you can initiate a little deeper release in the muscle you're working to stretch right now. As we raise up, step that left foot back, and we're onto both knees. As the toes tuck under, float the knees, pull your hips up and back to down dog. Step the feet forward. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Bend both knees. Now sweep the hands forward so we open down, or up, into a deep squat position. As we stand tall, we're going to lift the left knee up to the chest. Stand tall and lift. And then put that foot down, squat down, rise up, right leg lifts. Set it down, squat it down, step it up. And then lower and continue to go. Range of motion is your friend here. The deeper you can get into the squat, the better. Try to increase with each movement. As those muscles start to vascularize, they have more range. Come down, up. One more time, down, up. Both feet stand to the floor, hands come over heart. Heavy breathing and all. Thank you very much. Push your hands to the sky. Hold it all down. When you arrive on your mat, lie it down. Lie down.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm going to grab a little bit of water. Let's pull your knees up and into your chest. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees, and then just rock and round a little bit. Find a little bit of recovery. You can get a little vascular or cardio effect. Let's calm the knees. Let's bring the left foot onto the mat and extend the right foot up and into the sky. All right, now, while you work to keep your hips square, let's take the right leg and sweep it out. And it's not really a goal to get the leg close to the earth. The goal here is actually to keep the hips square. So we're working on opening or rotating that hip socket. You can roll off one side of your hips and get the leg down easily. Everyone can do that. This is about a specific type of stretch, and that's why we're keeping the pelvic curl square as best we can to the mat. I'm reaching for my leg with my right hand. I'm going to initiate a little pull of the leg back towards the body. And then I'm going to return that back onto the mat. And I'm going to take the left leg, extend it straight up. I'm going to open it to keep the hips square. You might find that the range of motion of one leg is different than the other. That's fine. Hand to leg. And assist that pull the leg backwards or back into the body. And then we release that. Bring both feet to the mat. Let's step the feet out to the width of the mat. Sides of feet running parallel. And bring the inner thighs together. Let's squeeze those thighs together. Let's hollow out the belly. And then if you can imagine, kind of rocking the pelvis. So roll onto your tailbone. That's anterior pelvic rotation. You're kind of pulling that low back off the earth. And then we're going to reverse that. I want you to let the tailbone kind of tuck under. And feel the top, the ridge, if you will, of the pelvis. And that low back region, the skin in that area, touching. You can kind of get that. All the way your belly. Keep your belly hollowed out and roll back onto the tailbone. A little problematic for our bodies to kind of figure that one out. Might require a little bit of rehearsal. Now roll back, low back, feel that nice connection. Hollow out and rotate forward the hips. Tailbone rolling down onto the mat. It's kind of like if we do cat and cow, same kind of pelvic gyration. Let's oscillate between the two. Yeah, we've got, are we squeezing the knees? Did you miss that part? The knees are squeezing, the belly's hollowing, and we're rocking back and forth. All right, and then let's stop that. Let the knees separate. Push both legs up and into the air. Push them nice and high. Try to get your low back off the mat. And then let the tailbone descend slowly back down onto your mat.
And then work to lift the tailbone up off the mat, kind of rocking up the hips, and then lowering back down, pulling back up, lowering back down. Let the legs slowly drift all the way down onto the mat. Point the toes, bring the arms above the head. Use the fingers to pull the arms, shoulders in one direction. Use the toes to pull the legs in the opposite direction. Fill up those ones with air. And then relax. Let the legs kind of fall wherever they like. Most of ours are going to splay open. With that effort I was talking about before, bring about awareness about exterior rotation of the lower body. So if your legs did that, let's try to practice a little bit differently. And let's kind of make these muscles a little more cognizant of what we like when we do. Just bring the lower body back to center. That's a long way of saying, point your toes up at the sky. All right, now let's try to rotate the toes in towards to touch each other. Keep the legs nice and straight. And then let them rotate to face the sky and rotate to touch. These are just really nuanced exercises, but they're so important for maintaining stable hips and keeping our internal rotation oriented muscles of the leg active, trained. Okay, let's meet with the toes aiming straight up at the sky. Let's pull the knees up and into the chest. And bring the forehead up to meet the knees. And kind of rock forward to back and come up to seated position. Extend the legs all the way up. I'm going to reposition myself on the mat. With the feet separated about mat width apart, I'm going to come back into that strong staff pose. I'm going to let my fingertips kind of reach in between my legs. And much the way that the Yellow Page walking man used to do its job, it's just walk the hands forward. Keep the spine extending to start. So we haven't really got into the depth of any stretch right now. We're keeping the muscles of the spine active, if you will. Walk forward a little more. Let's bring the feet into flexion. And then let's take the big toes and then turn them into each other. Now let's let the spine begin to flex. Let that upper body just kind of relax down. And let the head just dangle. As you breathe in and start to extend the spine, pull with the neck and the head. Walk the hands, let them kind of drift back. And then position them behind you. Turn your fingers so that they're aiming backwards. Walk the hands backwards. We have a nice opening opportunity of the chest. We feel that open up. Pull your shoulders up towards the ears. Walk your hands back a little farther if you can. Give me a nice proud chest as you hollow out your belly. Keep the belly hollowed out as you release the breath. Let's let the upper body drift forward. Switch the hand position. Walk them forward. Spine extending, neck pulling long, and then letting it all just release down. As you inhale and fill, lengthen the spine. Walk it back towards you. Step the hands back, fingers aiming backwards. Now making the chest proud, growing the neck nice and long, pulling the back of the head into the line of the back itself. Take a big breath in, proud of that chest. As you exhale, come back up. Bring hands over heart. Nice. Now, slowly, Pilates style. Let the spine C-curve and lower inch vertebrae by vertebrae down onto your mat. You should release the hands over heart. Use both the hands to grab onto the right knee and pull it into the body. And then switch to the left. I'm gonna go a little long. I'm gonna stretch out a little bit. Some nice stretches that complement our balance work. Now, take the right knee, pull it in. Take the left leg, plant it down by your hips. Let's take the right leg, as you pull it in, switch the position of the foot so it's on the opposite side of the knee. Let's use your left hand and kind of guide that right leg. So knee by knee position. Now, right side, left side, a little bit of tug of war. Let's use the right leg to start to begin to inwardly rotate the left knee. But let's similarly use that left leg to push out against the right. And these are rotating down to the right. But we have that frictional type thing going on. There's a little battle of the knees as well. And back up center. And switch sides. Same tug of war, opposite side. Right leg trying to rotate right as the left leg initiates a pull of all of that right leg towards the left side of your body. You're using your foot as the hinge, really, without reducing to a complete touch position. Rotate it back up. Slowly. And cross. Extend the legs straight. Heels are about hip width apart as you rotate the big toes and you touch, make the legs nice and long. We're not bent for the knees, we're strong through the legs. Hollow your belly. Now pull the knees up and into the chest. Bring the thighs together each time. Bring your forehead up to meet your thighs or knees. Rock and roll, front to back. And come up to a seated position. Beautiful. Oh, everyone's up here now. Let's bring our hands over hearts. Make the spine nice and long. And have our spirits held nice and high. And let me thank you all for joining me today. Hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Namaste.
Namaste.
No, it didn't stay in bed. Yeah. Cheers.
Wow, that was great.
It was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Were you out at a
Enough,
concert
doctor.
last night too?
Sorry?
Were you out at a concert last night?
I went to see the Killers.
Ah,
Wow. Was it good?
Awesome. He was awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
And the guy who opened, I'd never heard of before. The guy who opened, his name is Johnny Marr. But he used to play with the Pretenders, and he's like almost 60. He used to play with the Pretenders and all these English bands. It was wonderful. It was a great show. Great show.
it's a great show. A lot of Scottish people there with it.
Great show. Yeah, that was super. I needed that. I started pickleball on Wednesday too, so